أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين الحمد لله رب العالمين. Who has this question really? Does divine determining bind our freedom? Do you feel that divine determining is really binding our freedom? You feel. Who else? You do. The divine determining is binding your freedom. Although you have been following the previous classes, you still feel that.
Perhaps it's just that, I mean, I wasn't so sure that, you know, when we talk about free will, free choice, we think we do have a little, you know, we choose, and the Creator's will is created after we choose. When we choose something, the event His will is created after we choose, but His knowledge is absolute. So He knows that what we will be choosing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are we responsible for is our choice. So to me, it looks like, I mean, maybe I just have a nanosecond of freedom, that's it. I mean, I just take action and...
Yeah, you would just take action and
He creates it for me.
He creates it for you according to your choice.
Yes,
According to your choice. Doesn't this answer solve your problem or answer your problem? According to your choice. It doesn't. For you, it doesn't.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't choose that I get a disease or that someone I depend on dies or I get into an accident. I don't choose that. And this limits my choices in life depending on what happens.
What do you want to do? Well, for example, do you want to stop the sun moving? I'm starting from a very obvious answer. Do you want to stop the sun moving? No, you cannot. That's not within your the field of area of free will. So you are not responsible for the sun. Forget about it. None of your business. None of my business. I mean, not your business. None of our human business. Our responsibility is where we have the free will to use, to exercise. So my responsibility is there. The rest, no one is asking me how many galaxies will exist or is to be created. None of my business. No, it's not my business. My business is to look at them, to watch them, to investigate them, and come to a conclusion within my field of freedom. It means they are nice, they are not nice, they are stupid, meaningless, very, very wise, etc. And then take an attitude accordingly. For example, admire at them or get angry at them, whatever with them, whatever our responsibility is there within a limited field. But do we feel that within a limited field we are restricted by divine determining?
No.
That is the point we have to pay attention to, or we have to be concerned. I am here, for example, I want to lift up something, but my arm is not created to be able to do that. Let's say I have a disease here, I cannot move. There are many people who cannot really move their hands. So are they responsible for using their hands because they cannot move? No. But if you are responsible using, if you are able to use your arm, So you have to choose out this way or this way. Which way? Now, while we are choosing, do we feel that we are under the pressure of divine determining? So you wanted to do, but because somebody else is really restricting you from doing that action or practicing that action, that's why you cannot move it. You cannot do it. There are some psychological cases, psychological, it's a disorder. So people under the pressure of something, depressions, etc., they want to get out of the bed, especially in the morning. They can't. But although they can, but they don't feel the power to get out. So do you think it is because of the divine determining or because of a previous situation or previous psychological depressions or whatever happened to them? So their interpretation of it, they destroyed their nerve system or something. But because of our choices, if I am really biologically ill, I cannot move. But there are some illnesses may happen to you. You cannot really stand up, so you are not responsible for it. Well, you are praying, for example, typical example. Everybody knows that if you cannot really stand up, you don't have to stand up, and your salat, your prayer is absolutely correct and accepted as you did it. Yeah, for example, there is no water that you can make wudu. You don't have to. There is no water. It is not your choice. But there is water, but I am not going to wash my hand. That's your choice. So we have to make sure that divine determining never, it's a big claim, never prevents us from using our free will within its own field, where we are given the free will to exercise. This is what we have to understand. The rest, for example, there's something bad things are going on there. I didn't do it, I didn't choose, I didn't contribute, I don't agree with it, okay? I am only responsible for whether I approve it, I support it, etc. within my free will field area. Otherwise, I'm not responsible. What shall I do? For example, from my own feelings, I don't agree with it. Okay? But are you happy with it? It is whether you are happy with it or you are not happy with it, you agree with it, you don't agree with it, is your choice, our choice. So we are responsible for our choices.
So I think we sort of talked about this before when we were talking about how you can perceive things differently depending on your choice. So if you were to get sick, you can either see it as a positive thing, or you can see it as a negative thing. But the point here, in my understanding of Asma's question, and maybe just my question, is just the fact that you got sick, whether or not you choose to accept it or not, that's within your free will. But just the fact that you got sick and that everything in this universe happens for a reason, it means that for some reason you got sick. And I had no choice in that. I didn't choose to be sick, regardless of how I choose to see that sickness. And in that aspect, that's not my free will.
Yep. If it is not within your free will, yes, that's not your responsibility. As much as you, for example, let's say you didn't have enough sleep a couple of nights, your immune system dropped or fell low, so you cannot really resist any external germs or viruses, whatever they call them. Yeah. No, that's your choice. You are responsible for that choice. But we should never forget that, again, we are being educated here. You know, if a child, let's say in a class, the teacher teaches something, and the student sits there in the class, and student doesn't listen to teacher and doesn't learn, a student doesn't learn and fails in the test, is it the end of the world? No. He says, teacher, can I resit for the test? It means asking for forgiveness. So we are learning.
So let me forget what you take this example, because you can sort of try to blame it on yourself somehow, like you didn't sleep well or whatever. Okay, say you're walking in the street, running your own business on the sidewalk, even not jaywalking, nothing, and some drunk driver comes and drives into you on the sidewalk, and you're hurt badly because you get paralyzed, for example. So that's an example of something that I had no way to prevent it, and I had no choice.
You didn't have any choice.
Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah. And then it's not your responsibility. So your attitude towards this act of creation is within your responsibility. How do you regard it? How do you really evaluate it?
I understand that, but the point that I feel may be difficult for me a little bit, and a lot of people, is just the fact that it happened.
Yeah.
And God exists, and He let it happen.
Yes.
Then He knew it was going to happen to me. And
of course. Yeah. It's a deliberate act. Yeah.
It's a deliberate act, and so that, in one way, makes me feel, why me?
Whatever it is, whether you or another person, doesn't matter. We have to accept that we are here for what purpose. Now, it brings us to the understand now. Let's read this one. Somebody who is brave enough to read this. Well, it's a very difficult task. No one wants to do. Oh, look at, there are some great ladies. MashaAllah. Carry on.
Divine determining and the human power of choice are aspects of the belief pertaining to state and conscience, which show the final limits of Islam and belief. They are not theoretical and do not pertain to knowledge.
So, when we say divine determining or power of choice, power of choice, they don't belong to knowledge only. I have studied divine determining, a book, let's say, on Islamic creed or principles, and there is a section there, 20 pages or 50 pages, whatever it is, about divine determining. I learned this. Forget about the knowledge. It has nothing to do with it. Divine determining of free human choice is not of the kind of knowledge. It depends on your other or education, training, other pillars of belief. That's why we have to understand that we have to educate ourselves. You can, in other subjects, in other entities of belief principles. So you cannot educate yourself in divine determining. It is interesting. Let's now. I get excited when I stand up. It is a sign that's a very important thing. You cannot go beyond your belief in God. How do you see God? You cannot go beyond your belief in the hereafter. Look, there are classically or traditionally there are 6 pillars of belief. Now, somebody who memorized these 6 pillars of belief, tell me. Do you know what 6 pillars of belief?
5.
No.
6 pillars of belief. So you know that. Okay. I think if you know it, that's why I said. So in English, we are speaking in English.
Allah.
Sorry?
Believe in Allah?
We don't believe in Allah, we believe in God in
God,
English. Yeah.
okay. God.
Don't mix the language. Yeah.
His angels.
Sorry. Believe in,
God.
look at, be careful, be careful. That's why I'm deliberately interfering. So, believe in something called Allah exists. Right? Okay, the one.
His angels.
Believe in something called angels. Look, there is an object. Be careful. The sentence has an object. Carry on.
His books.
Believe in the fact that God, the creator of this universe, speaks and sends messages to human beings. Look, speech exists. Yeah, is there. 3. Yeah.
His projects.
Yeah, there are some people who are employed by the creator. You have to find them out. You have to find them out. You cannot find them ready. You have to find them out, right? You cannot learn that, you know, my father told me that Muhammad was the prophet. Oh, okay, my father is a, I follow him. It's not belief. You have to find them out who are employed by God to carry the message for you. So that's an object. You have to believe in such and such person is employed by God to carry the message from him to me. Look, there's an object, okay?
Day of judgment.
There is a day that I will be resurrected. Yeah, it means there will be another type of creation, right? Again, there is an object. Yeah, the day of resurrection exists. The prophets exist. The books, the revelation exist. The angels exist. God exists. 5. Speak about the 6th one. So in English, we are not in Cairo, we are in New York. What are you doing?
Egyptian, by the way.
So, oh, no. Okay. We are not in Amman, all right. That's right. I'm sorry, okay. There's no difference. They speak the almost similar language, yeah. So, say?
Divine determining.
So, believe something exists. No, there is no object. No? Have you seen? Divine determining has no object. So the object of divine determining, believing in divine determining, the objects of it are the 5 previous objects. They are the combination and the result, the consequence of your belief. You live it. You don't say that I believe in divine determining. It means nothing. Be careful. If someone says, I believe in divine determining, means nothing. It is the result of the combination of the previous 5 pillars of belief. Or whatever pillars of belief, or how else do you say? Principles of belief, or fundamentals of belief. Yeah. So, if you want to have a secure understanding of divine determining, you have to go back and confirm your belief in God, believe in the hereafter, believe in His messengers and His message, and believe in what is left? Angels. So you have to have these 5 pillars. As much as you are aware of it, as much as you are sure of it, you practice this belief when it comes to divine determining. When we say divine determining, it means I have already believed in God. And I have already believed that He creates this world through angels, employing the angels, and whatever is created is the result of the actions of the angels who are acting at the desire or will of their creator or God. So you believe, you understand that God speaks to you, give you guidance, sends you message. You understand that God employs somebody to practice message as an exemplary, in an exemplary form, as an example, as a human form. This message is practiced or is to be practiced by human beings, like I am doing. That's the prophet. That's what the prophet is. So there will be hereafter. It means this creation is not the only creation. It's not the only creation. So there will be another type of creation where I will experience my belief. For example, I said God's power is absolute. I said God's wisdom is absolute. I understood that the creator of this universe has an absolute mercy, but I fall ill. What does it mean? Here. But God says, I promise you, look, I will treat you as you really believe it in me, not in an imitation, not in a imitative way. As you really confirm to me, I will treat you accordingly. It means you will know me as I am. As you will know me, or you will see me as you know me. That's the best way of saying it. So, for example, if you learn mathematics, let's say at the junior high school, at this level, as the most highest, if you like, status of the professor in mathematics, teaches mathematics. How much you understand? Let's say a professor is teaching very high level of mathematics. You studied mathematics only up to the level of secondary school or junior high school. How much do you understand? As much as you know mathematics. Not more than that. That's what the hereafter is. So we better get ready. We better get acquainted with the belief system of what we learn from, whatever we learn from our belief system, or benefit from the Quranic teaching, etc. Increase your understanding of God. Increase your understanding of resurrection, a new creation. So what can He do for you? Your perception. No one can help you. Only you can help yourself. So no one can inject you. For example, you studied up to junior high school mathematics. No one can make you know mathematics at the level of college, for example. You have to study. You have to improve your qualities. The iman is like this. Belief is like this. You cannot borrow belief. You cannot copy paste belief. No, you have to increase yourself. You have to develop yourself. You have to educate ourselves. That's what we are doing. So we are not really, how do you say, transferring the knowledge that you can obtain from online. No, the practical. In our practical life, how can I really make sure that I believe in God and God means something for me? We have to develop. So we cannot go beyond our belief in the previous 5 pillars of belief, so we will have a better understanding or better practice of divine determining and free choice. No, it doesn't work. That's what this sentence says. Divine determining and human power of choice, aspects of a belief pertaining to state and consciousness, which shows the final limits of Islam. Yeah, I have underlined it. Final limits of Islam and belief for yourself. Let's say, if, for example, I want to have a belief or certainty in my belief in divine determining more than what I have developed myself in my belief in God, in my belief in the hereafter. You cannot go beyond your limit. So if you like, someone may disagree because of the language is a bit challenging. There is no independent belief in divine determining. It is the composition of the previous 5 beliefs, how you put them in practice. That's the belief in divine determining. Or practicing your belief is Your relationship with your God. You know what you are doing. You know who He is. Yeah, there is no something, an entity exists out there so that I believe in X to exist. I believe in God who exists. I believe in angels who exist. There is no such thing in the divine determinism. So divine determinism is a practice of one's belief, simply, very simple. So what are we doing here? We are trying to clarify our understanding of divine determining, because we found ourselves in mixed up with problems because we cannot solve some things that seems to be problematic for us. The reason for it, our previous hearings, narrations to us about divine determining. Practically people usually say, that's my qadar, it's Arabic word, qadar, but that's how God decided about me, so I cannot do anything. No, you can, depending on whether it is, whatever you are talking about is within your free choice or not. If it is not within your free choice, yes, you cannot have more than what God created for you. You cannot really make this earth bigger than what it is. You cannot really stop this revolving of the earth. No, it revolves. It doesn't wait for you. But what you can do, you can go this way or this way. You can have an attitude towards an event which is created out there in a negative way or in a positive way. That's your choice. So we have to watch out for our choice. So while we are practicing this, we have to be, while we want to have a perfect attitude towards what is going on in the world, we have to make sure that it's very simple. What is left to God? What is left to you? Be careful. Don't confuse the realm of existence. The realm of existence of God is different from realm of your free choice. So, and also know that we will study that. But I can tell you now, from now, very simply, we will study that although I may choose something, I cannot create. I have to accept that. I cannot give existence to anything. I cannot guarantee anything in the next moment at all. I have to know my limits. So what am I doing? I'm just using my free will in order to, if you like, petition or ask the Creator to create this one for me. And God promises that. We have studied this in our previous discussions. God never breaks His promise. God never is His rule of creation. God never really gives up His law of creating. Just adjust yourself according to the given laws. It means laws of creation. So what we are doing, we are just really besieging the Creator to create this moment for me in this way or another way, according to my choice. So that's the best way of awareness, that we are always in relationship with the Creator. Whatever we do, we cannot create. But we are asking the Creator to create, and He promises that if it is within the field of our free will, yeah, if it is within the field that I am given freedom to choose, He said, I will do that. Okay, let's hear you.
Okay. So you're saying that there are two realms of creation, or two realms of whatever. Exactly. One is existence, one is the divine determining, and one is the free will?
Yeah, but you can say free will, the domain of free will, and the rest.
Right.
But, yeah.
How about isn't there a third, which is the free will of the other people, which interferes with my
that's
condition?
As far as we are concerned. We are talking as far as we are concerned.
Yeah, but like the free will of other people, is that part of the divine determining?
Yeah, for you, yes.
For me, yes.
For you,
so
yes.
The guy
Not
who ran into me on the sidewalk.
Yeah, for example.
that was divine determining.
For you, as far as you are
Yeah,
concerned.
as far as I'm concerned.
But you know that he has chosen, he has misused, or he used whatever. That's his responsibility. But you have to take notice of it. You know, there are some people who are crazy when they're driving,
Right.
and then you have to.
But
take
as far as I'm
precautions.
concerned, when I look at the action, I look at it as something that was deliberately done as a divine determining, as a consequence of the divine determining.
That was beautiful as far as you are concerned, as far as your responsibilities are concerned.
Okay.
Yeah. So if someone does any injustice to you, so you have to take an action after it is created.
Mhm.
Now, you will say whether it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, or I have to react, I have to forgive, whatever. That's your choice. But as far as that thing happens to you, as far as you are concerned, it is not your choice. Yeah, but you deliberately go there, there's a danger, you know that in some places in the world, after 12 p.m., people, midnight, people go crazy, out of control. Those people who are under the influence of drug, they don't know what to do in the midnight. So if you are there, there's a possibility you heard that they attack people, you know, because they go under they lose the control, they lose the control. You know that, you go. But if you go to searches, would you not talk anything? Or shall I give Habibi your honest?
Okay. I was a nurse in Baltimore, Maryland, South Carolina. Had a patient. He got mad. He took a shotgun, put it up to his face. He put a hole in his face big enough for my fist to go in it. He didn't die. He wasn't like, you know, I wish I didn't do it. It just wasn't for him to die. That's what I took it. And he was able to communicate by writing. And he could use his computer. And he was walking around. He was doing everything that he could, whatever anyone else could do, except he had no nose and a hole in his face. And the way I look at it, like I said, it was just meant for him. It just wasn't for him to die, even though he put a hole in his face. And I've had quite a few patients like that put guns up to their heads and blew half their head off. And every time their heart beat, you could see their brain pulsate. But they didn't die. And they managed to walk out and live. Now, if they want to do it again, I don't know. But
You know, let's talk in terms of principles. In terms of principles. Very, very simple. Make it very simple. Whatever I am given the freedom to choose, I'm responsible for it. If I am not given any permission or freedom to choose, I'm not responsible for it. And I am responsible for only taking an attitude towards the actions or the creation which are happening around me as far as my knowledge or my perception of the events are concerned. So if you see that I cannot do anything with the sun, but you can do something with the sun, which kind of attitude you will have. We will discuss this, but how are you going to see it? You know, which kind of feeling you will develop. That's within your free will. None of your business. That's your choice. For example, the sun is there. Somebody said, "Look at the sun." Oh, it's not within my free will. None of my business. That's your choice. You see, you took that attitude. That's why we will. I'm excited actually to come to these verses, where our responsibility gets involved in our attitude towards external world, which happens not without anything to do with our free choice. But we are responsible for our free choice.
Okay, I reconsider. I'm going to ask it anyways, even though I know you're not going to like the question. But the part that sort of is confusing to me is that the reason you won't like this question is that it's trying to understand God's
Perspective.
perspective,
Which is none of your business.
which is none of my business. I know.
You know that.
But the part that I don't understand is why couldn't it have just played out? Like why does everything have to be? You said there's two perspectives, right? There's the perspective that everything is already created. We're on a train. We're looking through the window, and we're seeing things as they unfold. Why couldn't it have just been for everybody? It's just unfolding. That's it. There's no predetermined. Everything was already created. Everything, because when you think about that, everything is already created, and we're just observing it as it happens. That's where you start thinking, why is everything determined for me? Why did it have to be that way?
So, as you said, you are well aware of it. The universe is out there. I am here. Universe has been given all the qualities it has. I have been given all the qualities I have. They are all given. So we are in a given situation. So if you question your given, this is very interesting, those who are familiar with the Quran. There is no why question in the Quran. There is how question. So why question is irrelevant. Why? Because when you ask the why question, as far as the creation is concerned, you are questioning the Creator. You cannot question the Creator. You can only see the created world, use your free choice, and have an attitude towards it. So if you say why the Creator has created the world round, for example, it's irrelevant. It is there. Your responsibility is to take lesson from it, to educate yourself, to use your free choice, free will, in order to analyze the wisdom in its creation. Wisdom in its creation. How that it happens, and through this creation, which kinds of qualities of the Creator I am experiencing. So you get to know your Creator, or the Creator of that object, whatever you are studying, whatever it is. So why questions, although people love why questions because it refers to God directly, it assumes that you have already established belief in God. It doesn't work because we cannot really reason about anything created in this world basing our argument on already established belief in God. Because we are in our reality, we are experiencing the world, and through our experience, we establish belief in God. That belief in God is our conclusion. I understand that, for example, there is a wisdom in the creation of this thing, whatever. Yeah, let's talk about the fruit, for example, pomegranate. When you look at it, it's nicely ripe. And there's a beautiful flower, yeah, and inside the skin is perfectly preserving the value or whatever of the fruit, and inside is nicely divided, a very thin thing, and everything is really put in order without mixing up, and in each how do you say, piece, in each teeth, there is a seed in it. You have to think about them. That's what you are experiencing there. Why did the one who created it, created it? He created it. That's your duty is, my duty is, I am given the ability to question it. I question it, investigate how it came into existence, and conclude that its creator is a wise one, compassionate one, and the one who loves beauty, design, and entertains me. It is he knows me, etc., and get to know who your Lord is, who is the creator, owner of the pomegranate, for example, that you are experiencing. For example, just an example. You can see everything. You cannot say why did he create. It is illogical. We studied that because the creator, as you concluded, creator must be absolute. You cannot comprehend the power of absolute, wisdom of absolute, knowledge of absolute, will of absolute. You cannot comprehend absolute. So any question which includes in it why is illogical if you think deeply. You will understand that that's why we have to stop speaking from creator's perspective. We have to stop questioning the creator, but we have to question the created things. How come that they exist? Which kind of qualities they have? What are they to do with me? Be realistic. So if you say, why did you create? Why are you speaking to God? You cannot speak to God because it is not within the limits of this universe. So any question which says, can God do, why God does this, etc., all irrelevant questions, illogical, inconsistent questions. But since we are used to speaking from God's perspective a lot, because we love imitating God, being pro-God, and giving verdicts on behalf of God. And we don't notice that we are just speaking on no base, no foundation. It is something new for those people who come from Muslim background. Not only from Egypt, for everybody. Yes, yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. With understanding that every human who's given free will is responsible for their choices that they choose, my question is, even in the mistakes that are always happening, that we, and I'll say, for just a lack of a better term, bad choices, or for the bad choices that we make, not even retrospectively, can we also, and I know this is probably wrong, but can we also say that those choices that we are totally responsible for because it's your free will and that you're using it accordingly, can we also say that that is part of the perfect knowledge of the creator of the universe, and it's willed or planned according to the plan of the entire universe, which is totally out of our ability to comprehend? But that's to say that even your mistakes are also willed and planned by the willer and planner of the entire universe.
That's the same question we asked before. Your free will is given to you to be used by your own choice freely. That is determined. We used this expression before, saying we are bound to have two arms. We are bound to have free will. We are given. You cannot really kill it. That will be your choice. You cannot say that I don't have any free will. No, it's given. But this free will is by definition free. We are saying free. God said you are free. You choose, I create. Yeah? You choose, I create. You are free. So if God determines your choice, it's not free will, it's determined. So we said divine determining is important, not predestination. Predestination is misleading. As far as our free will is concerned, there is no predestination. Divine determining, He determined that we are going to be free, we are set free, and we are in the classroom of the universe, trying to learn and educate and educate ourselves, improve our abilities. So simple. But let's Actually, this class is nothing but to clarify what is learned before wrongly. It means unlearning. This class is unlearning. Especially coming from the Muslim background, we have lots of baggages, and we love speaking from God's perspective. We love analyzing the words from God's perspective, but in reality, they are not true. That's what we have to learn here. So, yeah.
You know that Allah, like, He owns everything, including us.
I don't know. How do you know? What?
So,
Sorry? Well, that's it's written in the book. I don't know. You have to come with an conclusion. Yeah. So you have to go through. You can speak. I think you are new. You are new in this group. Yeah, that's why this guy had a lot of
I can show you my scars
everywhere. So, no one is allowed to, but not here, not because of my role. If you want to understand the truth, never speak from God's perspective, never repeat God's word. You have to confirm it. I understand, you are most welcome, but you have to come long.
No, but that was not my question.
Of course, it wasn't a question. I didn't let you ask the question. The first statement is baseless. So you correct your first statement first. So I understand when I look at this universe and everything in it, then the one who created this universe must have an absolute power. Well, it makes sense. So you can conclude that as a result of your free choice. But if you say God is all powerful, why? Because it is written in the Quran. It is not a free choice. It is imitation. So we have to rectify our language here. Since you come here, welcome. But carry on now the question. Did you understand the difference slightly? Yeah. It's good, inshallah.
Okay. So my second part is that our heart is between His fingers. He's the one that. I don't know how to say this in a nice voice. You're yell at me, but
No, I'm not yelling at you. Why should I yell at you? You are most welcome. Come on.
So we know that our
You know that.
powerful. I know that.
Okay.
I don't know.
So,
Yes, I believe that our heart is between His fingers, and He
between the fingers of whom?
well,
I don't know. I haven't seen it. No.
That's the
Sister?
question. The Prophet used to say,
Well, no. Don't narrate any verse, any hadith. Only narrate your conclusion depending on your observation, and at the end of observation, confirmation. That's what I got. I reached this conclusion. So when we start narrating, okay, I can ask Google and narrate whole Quran, and it doesn't help me. So what we have to do, my humble advice to you, pay attention to the methodology we are following here. That's why it's difficult in this class, because we don't allow any pre-assumed belief. We have to speak with our own our conviction as a result of our own observations. No imitations, no transformation, narration from others. So you can say, I read a hadith and I confirm this hadith. It is true, it makes sense to me because of this and this and this observation I have experienced. No narration. So that's why we are trying to really have a sound foundation for our belief without imitation. So there is no way. So please continue come and try to see the methodology that I believe that the Muslim youth, especially like you, not the people who are businessmen, etc., will come to the Friday prayer. That's different. Today is not Friday. It's not the sermon. Now, we are trying to substantiate our belief. Now, okay, there is a big hand is going up, so they will be supporting you. Okay?
Right, definitely.
No.
I'm going to try to use my observations to piggyback off what she said. So I've observed and concluded that my feelings and perceptive awareness, our ability to really acknowledge things fluctuates a lot. I.e. the changing of hearts, or i.e. this our mood swings and our, not even mood, but our whole being swings is a lot. So I think what our sister was beautifully commenting on is this thing that we're experiencing that seems to be sometimes out of my personal control. So I might want to be in a very perceptive, very keen state, but sometimes that's not the case.
Well, okay, beautiful. Let's make it clear. Is it within the realm of your free choice? You are not responsible.
That's very hard to say.
By definition, practically, yes, it is hard. But by definition, for example, something happened, nothing happened, you jumped. For example, in dream, you dreamed of something. Okay, you had a nightmare, you woke up, you are sweating. Is it your choice? No, by definition. Well, none of my business. So what we have to do is we have to educate ourselves which kind of attitude we should have in order to, not in order, we should have certain attitude towards the creation. I need to educate myself. That's my choice. For example, something happened that I didn't like. Why do you get furious? So you say it is within my free will, or the realm of free will, that I can educate myself, not to get out of control. So make attempt to it. For example, make an intention. I shouldn't be reacting the events which happen also out of my control. That's your responsibility. What happened, as example was given earlier on, when you are walking on the sidewalk and a car came and, God forbid, harmed you. It's not your responsibility. It is not within your responsibility. So you tried to run away, but you couldn't. Yeah. But if you stop there, okay, it's not my job. He is coming. You didn't run away. It's your choice, and you are responsible for not running away. It's not. It is simple, but in practical times we cannot control, as Sister put it, to control our modes. But that's what we have to educate. There are ways, we have to learn at the end of this class that there are two things that are extremely important. To pray, to ask for forgiveness. To pray means to acknowledge that I cannot be a perfect man. I cannot become a perfect person at once. That's why we have to acknowledge that I cannot, I need the help. So this acknowledgement is the reason to receive the help from God. Now God doesn't arbitrarily, as we use it, come and help you and doesn't help Ahab. I don't know for what reason. No, as far as I'm concerned, I have to ask for it. That's called prayer. And asking for forgiveness, repentance, also within our choice. I did a mistake. For example, I didn't educate myself. I didn't pay attention to my behavior. I didn't really educate myself how to control my modes, right? Then Brother Tariq said something to me which annoyed me, I burst out and furiously attacked. I said, oh, it was wrong. I shouldn't do that. Because it is within my free choice. What I should do, it was a mistake. Please, God, forgive me. I didn't want to use it, but because of my lack of education, shortcomings in my training, I did this. Please forgive me. I should not do it. By taking or choosing this attitude, I am asking my Creator to give me this opportunity. While I am doing this, what I am doing, I am enforcing my choice on this way. That is created, the result will be created by God, whatever you want. The typical example, if you want to have muscles, strong muscles, what you do heavy lifting. So the first day you can only 50 pounds of bars, whatever heavy lifting, and it hurts. But 10 days later, you can easily do it. You wanted, He created. You asked, He has given you. That's what He says. Come to me, I will respond to you. Ask me, I will give you. The reason He gives is you're asking. Be careful. Reason He gives you, He develops your muscles, you're asking. That's how He creates. He shows, He demonstrates it, and He never breaks His law. Whoever does it, whoever asks, He gives. So never forget two elements. When we want to do something, we have to do it in the form of prayer. If you want to leave something behind, if you don't want to it, if you don't want to do it, we have to ask for forgiveness of our mistakes. These two ways are within our free will. Do you understand? Within the realm of our free choice. I can choose to pray. I can choose not to pray. I can choose to ask for forgiveness. I can choose not to ask for forgiveness. When I exercise them, that will be my portion. And God promises that He will respond. Do you see the frame now, how it works? Right? But be careful. We should never use pray, accepted or learned or previously learned things and inject it into our experience here. So say, be realistic. Yeah, see that hearts in the hands of two fingers of God. He changes muqallib al-qulub. I will just let you know that I know the expression. So, but I don't want to use it. So He changes my heart. I have nothing to do with it. Yeah. If it is up to Him, you are not responsible. But you feel, you pay attention to your responsibility. Are you asking? For example, you listen to the teacher. He taught you a new subject. You didn't go home and didn't revise what the professor taught you. You forget. That's your choice. It means by not revising, you have chosen to forget. That's your responsibility. God didn't make you forget. You asked Him to create forget, or to create you in a forgetful way, or He created you as a person who has forgotten the class. That's it. That's what you ask. He creates it. And in this sense, there is no, how do you say, not the difference. No, God doesn't arbitrarily do that. There is no.
Is it rolled dice?
Sorry. Yeah, because for example, some people are. Let's say how long? Some people are. I don't know how to speak in terms of feet.
6 feet.
Normal.
5 feet.
5 feet. Okay. Some
7.
people are 5 feet. Some people are 7. Some Americans are 9. Well, we don't know. Yeah. So 5 feet. Okay. Are you responsible for being 5 feet? So why bother? It's not your responsibility. But it's your responsibility not to develop complex out of it. I'm not tall enough. There are some people huge. I feel very belittled. No, that's how you are created. That's it. Because you cannot change it. It is not within your realm of free will. Just a minute. I think we have to go into, but I would like to hear all the questions related to the subject we are studying, yeah, without bringing any prejudiced idea. No, but we have to confirm that. You can understand what it means, not use it as your reasoning. You reason, at the end of reasoning, you confirm that this message is correct. Somebody, I've said something.
The statements like God does not break his promise or God is going to keep his promise. How do we confirm these things?
Look at the universe. Have you seen any change in laws?
No.
In the way the things are coming into existence? Yeah. So if you can really calculate it, you can know which winds will go which direction, which speed. Yeah. If you know, but there are rules. Yeah. So the one, we have to use this language. The one who created this universe is following certain patterns. And this pattern, way of creation, bringing it into existence, doesn't change. But there are various things that you don't know, of course, but what we know is nothing. But as far as you know that God, for example, you keep the watch or clock really, this with the nuclear power, atomic clock, the sun rises exactly as you calculated. Never chance. No, we know that the Creator knows. So one more. Okay. So this is the conclusion. Somebody, would you like to read or ask a question?
I have a question.
Of course.
So you said we shouldn't ask for something that's too complex. Like if you want to, if you're looking at someone who's tall, it's impossible for you after a certain age to gain height. But is capability also predetermined? Like, is it okay? How do you request? Like, how do you know your limits when it comes to capabilities or your nature or the gifts that God has given you? Right? Like, everyone has a different range. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. How do you know when to ask for certain gifts that maybe? How do you know when not to ask for certain gifts you just cannot acquire because God hasn't built you that way?
You have to investigate. Everybody has to really study himself or herself and see what he can do. But while we are choosing, can I be a physicist or can I be a sociologist, sociologist, or study music? So that's up to you. You may not know. You don't know when no one can guarantee it. But we are responsible only to pay attention to my abilities and make decisions, and I'm responsible for my decisions. So you may not know. I don't know. For example, I am talented in somebody. Some people say I am not talented in, for example, let's say art, but when you start taking a course, it develops. You don't know, but we are responsible for our decisions, not to find out my talent. I may know, I may not know. But if someone says, for example, I don't know in which area, in which field I am really qualified or talented, so I don't know. Leave it. That's my choice. You leave it is my choice. So let me try. Take an art course, take an for example, science course, take an humanities course, for example, language course, whatever, and try. That's your choice. Knowing is not important. Really, to discover that you are talented in, let's say, painting. You are very good at drawing. Yeah, you can be a best architect. Found out, but our responsibility is how are we going to use it while you are choosing this way, how are you going to really utilize this ability and be thankful to the Creator or not. That's the area we study is not important. The job we do is not important. Really, what is important? How are we seeing them? How are we analyzing them? How are we really utilizing them in order to know the creator of that talent? So, for example, you are talented with architecture, so you can be a best architect. Okay, you are good, and then you can be proud of it, or you can be thankful for the Creator who has given you this ability. That's your responsibility. That's our responsibility. You can say that I am talented, or you can say that I am given this talent. Acknowledge it and be thankful to its Creator. While you are using it, you don't really brag for being a best architect. More humble, because you acknowledge that it is great, it is given to you. That is my responsibility.
I think that one bad thing is our arrogance, and another thing is that we try to understand and to explain the unknown. And like, for instance, I cannot know what is the limit of my brain. Allah knows, and I should accept that. And if I try to learn as much as I can, that's all I can do.
Yeah,
but trying to find the answer to tomorrow, I think that's what we're struggling to try to understand tomorrow. Because if I know what my talents and capabilities are, then I can know tomorrow, and we can't.
So yeah, again, very simple. Again, if you cannot know what will happen tomorrow, so why bother? That's my responsibility. But I can predict from the previous experience. I'm giving the ability, yeah, because don't you know that looking at the signs that God, because God creates, the one who creates this universe always creates on the same law, same principles. So you know that tomorrow, if sun rises, it will rise at a certain time. Let's say nowadays 6:35 or something in New York, right? So you can calculate it. How? And not because you know the future, you are not discovering the way God, the one who creates this universe, is creating. So we see that there is no change in the way He creates it. You can count it, but it doesn't mean that you will claim to know everything. And if you know, discover it. If you cannot discover it, it's not your responsibility. I think you wanted to start.
Question. I'm having a little bit of maybe emotional difficulty, like taking it in.
Yeah. I know that. So, I appreciate it. Don't worry.
So we can't just will ourselves to draw closer to Allah. We can't just will ourselves to be rightly guided. We can just try. And what if you really, really, really want it and it's still just like not happening?
No. We are responsible to use our free will and make the attempt. For example, we studied this again. I can refer to the previous discussions we had. I can put the seed, all right, and try to protect it, water it, let it get enough light. Accordingly, the season, watch out how God creates. From my previous experience, I watch everything. Okay, I am very careful about everything. An insect comes and eats it. Does it happen? We studied this. There are two types of divine determining we studied. One is evident divine determining. The other one is theoretical divine determining. You never know which insect will choose your seed. You don't know. So they have free will, partially though, doesn't matter, but they can come and eat yours. That is not your responsibility. We are not created in this world to grow the seed. We are created in this world to obey the laws of creation. As long as you are concerned, you can argue with God if you like. That's a joke. You say, why didn't you get the food for your children? God, excuse me, I have put my seeds and I observed all your laws, but you send a certain insect, they come in, how do you say, in mob, and eat everything. How are they called? Locusts. Locusts. Yeah? Locusts came and ate. It was your mistake, not me, if it is a mistake. Of course, that's a joke. So, you have done your responsibility. Leave the rest to God, to the Creator, but watch out for your responsibility.
So that applies, just going back to the question to clarify something for me, so that also applies to your trying to, increase your belief or be a better believer, or all my responsibility is to try, and the outcome, the fruit of that is created by God.
Whatever. Who creates the universe? He'll give existence to it or not. It's up to him, and it's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility. Watch out for yourself. We always say that don't mess up with or meddle or mess up with God's responsibility, the Creator's responsibility. Pay attention to your responsibility. Do you want to have a strong faith in God, believe in God? So there is a way for it. Yeah, come to the class. For example, read it, listen to people, investigate it. Don't be negligent. Don't be lazy. So make an effort for it.
Heedless.
Sorry?
Don't be heedless.
Don't be heedless. We studied on Saturday. So this one, this one.
I'm having a hard time, I guess, parsing through what it means to be responsible for our choice versus being responsible for the results or the effect of our choice.
So I understand. I understood the first one, to be responsible for our choice, and the second one.
Versus being responsible for the consequences of that choice.
Because we studied that. I think again, this is the 9th section. Yeah, we studied this. We use our free will in order to express our wish. We cannot create. We cannot give existence to anything. That's why we say believe in God is mercy of God or benevolence of God, etc. Because He creates it. But do I want it or not? That's why I have to pay attention to. Do I want? What do I want? How do I interpret the world? For example, look at the universe. I never pay attention to it. I say, I believe in God. Because I was born as a Muslim. Or I was born into a Muslim family. We are Muslims. We say, you didn't do anything. You were born into a Muslim family, not out of your choice. You cannot really be proud of it. And you cannot take it as a privileged position. No, exactly, a person is born into an atheist family is nothing different from a person who is born into the most learned Muslim scholars family. There is no difference. Everybody is equally treated. You have to take your responsibility. How you use your responsibility. For example, your father tells you something on atheist family, a person who is born into an atheist family, his father tells him something. After the age of puberty, they all take their own attitude or own stand. Everybody is responsible according to the order, the field of his free choice. The outside atmosphere is not my responsibility, or anything beyond or above my field of free choice is not my responsibility. We have to understand this.
But there are many studies that conclude that environments have a big impact on people and how they develop as people.
I don't swallow it. I see the number of the believers in America is not different proportion. Level and proportion of the believers in America is not different from the proportion of the believers in Jordan. You may say, but they are Muslims. I don't know. I'm not saying they are not Muslims. None of my business. These are just political identities. What you have in your heart, which kind of attempt or how do you say, which kind of effort you have spent in order to know the truth. That's your responsibility. Yeah, that's your responsibility. For example, a person is born into a very barren field. You cannot really cultivate, very little. A person is born into a field where the earth is very fertile. Okay. Are you responsible for the field? No. You are responsible for your effort. So a person works on the barren field and gets, let's say, 10 pounds of grain. The other one works in the very fertile, but in a lazy way, gets, how many pounds did you say, 10? Gets 20. But as far as the fertility of the land is concerned, he should get not 20, but 100. So, although he got more corn or production, still he's responsible. He's lazy. So I will give you another example. Very simple example. You have $100. Okay. You pay how much? Zakat, charity, 2%. It means $2.5. You pay. Listen. Let's say I am poor man, so I have $100 and I paid $2.5 to the charity or zakat. Well, my due payment. Okay. But let's say, who's rich here? I think that guy is rich there. All right. So, so he's very rich. So he has $1 million. So how much zakat he has to pay? Yeah. 25,000. 25,000. But he paid 20,000. I paid $2.5. I have fulfilled my responsibility 100%. He paid 20,000. He fulfilled his responsibility 80%. He's a very bad guy. I am the rest. So, according to the given atmosphere, I'm responsible. Don't say that I was born into a Muslim family. So every day in the morning when I wake up, always the Quran is on the Quran is read. So I memorize the Quran. You don't know nothing. Yeah, but I memorize the Quran because I was born. No, how much? How do you say? Due charity or due zakat purification? How do you call it? Zakat. Alms. How much? Alms you have paid as far as your free choice is concerned. So you might have memorized the Quran, from cover to cover, because your father, your mother cheated you, gave you chocolates and encouraged you, but the other person never memorized the Quran, never heard the Quran, but he's struggling. Why am I in this world? Who brought me here? I want to know the purpose of my existence. He is in paradise, you are in hell. But you haven't done anything. So we have to watch out. So we have to say God is the creator, must be just. Must be just. But it is hard to swallow, especially for people who identify themselves with Islam because of their family affiliation. It is very cheating. It's not realistic. Okay? We have to stop. But let's finish this one at least. Divine determination. Somebody who would like to read it? Okay.
Divine determining is included in order to save the self from pride, and the power of choice is included to admit the responsibility of the self.
Do you understand? Divine determining here, God is encompassing knowledge and power to create. We studied this as well earlier on. Qadr has two meanings. From one aspect, which is power, qudra. From another aspect, qadr means really giving certain proportion. So he decides the proportion. He reflects his power and creates it. That's why, for example, I memorized the Quran, I am a best man. No, God created it. So I identify myself with Islam, so I am going to paradise. No, it is God's creation. You cannot be proud of it. So how about the power of choice? Admit the responsibility of the self. It means when you have been given the power of choice, have you exercised the power of choice? Have you used it? Yeah, what have you used it? So the proportion, not according to the amount that you have, proportion according to the amount you make effort. Right? Do you understand the difference? According to the amount you make effort by using your free will, not according to the amount you have. You found a tree growing in your garden, for example. You say that I am lucky. No, 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 no. No, you are not lucky, you are not unlucky, whatever. Here is the tree. Here you had no effort to it, but your responsibility to acknowledge that it is given to you. If you don't acknowledge it is mine, yeah, it is given to you. It is my property. You are the loser. So another person grows the tree in his garden, and says that, look, I have grown the tree. No, you haven't. God created it. The one who created the universe, you haven't created the tree. His responsibility is which kind of attitude this person will take before the existence of the tree. Whether he will see it as a blessing, as a grace from God, or he will say, that's the result of my labor. Own it. So you see that the existence of the tree in the garden is equal. Whether you grow it or you found it there. Your attitude towards the existence which exists out of your free will, and your attitude towards your free will, how do you see it? We make attempt, okay, to use our whatever the abilities are given to us. The result is asking is from me, creating is from not me, from the one who creates the universe. So whatever happens, I am thankful for the creator. I cannot be of it. Where I am responsible, did I ask the creator to create this one for me or not? If I did, I fulfilled my duty. If I didn't, I am the loser. For example, I did nothing, but some trees grew in my tree, in my garden. Am I responsible for it? No. So it is not my labor. So I will say, the one who created the universe, thank you. Right? Do you understand? The other person tried hard and grew the trees. Okay. Can he be proud of his action? No. He has to say, I have been given the ability or power to do this job. It is God's favor. It is God's grace, not me. So I have to be thankful. Both people, in the example, have to be thankful to the Creator and take responsibility for their choices. Seems to be settling down, so we understand this. Inshallah, we will carry on. So I think we should carry on, yeah? Or shall we stop studying divine determinism?
Next week, right?
Next week. Not now. Not now. Next week. Not only you, I've tried this. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But please bring your questions. Don't be ashamed. I am not yelling. Then I speak in this tone. Yeah? But, you know, I don't let people use their previous information. I need confirmation. We are here to confirm. Information is cheap. Now it is very cheap. Go to the Google. All the Quran is there. The Kutub al-Sittah is there. All the 6 books of Hadith. He knows better than you. Never confused. So it doesn't mean that they are worthless. No. Transferring them has no value. Confirming them is our duty. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Next Saturday at 11 o'clock we are here again. And Wednesday we will carry on. Saturday and Wednesday. Thank you. Jazakumullah. Inshallah I'll see you next. Those who can do it on Saturday. Or if you can't do it on Saturday, Wednesday, inshallah.